The police did not arrest Imelda because her maid was missing. They arrested her because they believed she helped make her disappear. But Imelda did not know that yet. Imelda's phone rang at exactly 6 p.m. and as she picked the call, she had no idea her life was about to change. "Ma'am, your daughter is still in school," the proprietor said. Hours had passed since the school closed. Imelda looked at her wristwatch. It was 6 p.m. Panic surged through her as Imelda tried calling her maid to find out why her daughter was still in school. But the maid's phone was switched off. In that moment, Imelda had no idea that this was just the beginning of a nightmare that would soon turn her life upside down. Imelda drove straight to pick up her daughter, and on her way back, she stopped by the catering school her maid was enrolled in to check what could be the problem. She was told Ruth, her maid, had not shown up for classes that day. By 10 p.m. that evening, it became crystal clear to Imelda that her maid was missing. When her husband got back from his trip, Imelda told him that their maid was nowhere to be found. She suggested they reported the case to the police, but Peter, Imelda's husband, said it was too soon to do so. Imelda and her husband called the family of Ruth, their maid, to ask if they had seen their daughter, but they got no response. Imelda couldn't believe the drama that was unfolding before her very eyes. "This is getting very serious. Let's report this girl's disappearance to the police," Imelda told her husband, but Peter insisted it wasn't up to 24 hours yet. He told Imelda that he had a feeling she would be back soon. Peter told Imelda that he didn't want to make the disappearance of their maid public knowledge yet, especially since Imelda was a celebrity. Imelda was a host of a very popular talk show. 2 days later, Ruth was still nowhere to be found. Imelda took matters into her hands and reported the case to the police without her husband's knowledge. She was so scared that if the story got out, it would make her look wicked and neglectful of her maid. Just like Peter had envisaged, the blogs got tipped off and the story was all over the media. As if it was not enough, Ruth's parents came to see Imelda and her husband. It turned out to be the most emotionally draining meeting Imelda had ever had because Ruth's parents demanded Imelda and her husband provide their daughter, else the whole world would know that they were responsible for their daughter's disappearance. What started as a call from Imelda's daughter's school telling her daughter was still in school hours after close of school was quickly snowballing into something else. But Imelda was yet to see the most shocking twist of all. The media chewed Imelda raw when Ruth's parents went on social media to cry and demand Imelda produce their daughter. The video they made went viral, and before long, people started disassociating themselves from Imelda. So many brands she was working with started ending their contract with Imelda. Her daytime show had to be taken off by the television network because Imelda was receiving attacks on the show. People were calling in to say all sorts of mean things to Imelda during the show and accuse her of unprintable things. One day, Imelda was at home on her first leave when she received a call that would forever change her life. It was from an unknown number and a man's voice could be heard from the other end, and a young lady's cries. It was Ruth. The man demanded Imelda provide a ransom of 15 million naira or Ruth would be silenced forever and Imelda would be implicated. Imelda was warned sternly not to involve the police. Imelda told her husband about the call and he told her they should quickly put the money together and pay the ransom. Let me know by dropping your comments. Would you tell the police or not if you were in Imelda's shoes? What do you think is really going on? Drop your comment in the comment section below. Let's continue. Imelda quickly went to work in raising the money. It's not that she had the money just laying around. She immediately started selling some shares and a few investments, and the money was ready. The kidnappers called and told her where to drop the money, and of course to threaten her about not involving the police. Just as she was about to drive out with the money, a thought came to Imelda. She begged her husband to please help her drop the ransom. He didn't like the idea but later agreed because Imelda was so tense that she couldn't drive. Her hands were shaking. Imelda went home and waited. Not long after, her husband got back home. The drop-off of the money was a success. All they had to do was wait for Ruth, their maid, to be released. Very early the following morning, the police arrived with a warrant and arrested Imelda and her husband. When they got to the station, a shocking twist was unveiled. Ruth was safe and in the police custody. Imelda was taken to a room and an unbelievable story of what really happened was narrated to her. Ruth was not kidnapped. She had been chilling out at an apartment with no other person than Peter, Imelda's husband. Yes, Imelda's Peter. Ruth, her maid, was 5 months pregnant with Imelda's husband's baby, and the baby was a boy. The whole staged kidnap was a way of taking Ruth to another country to live with their baby. Peter still wanted to remain married to Imelda and start a family with Ruth. The story was supposed to end with Ruth being killed by her kidnappers. Meanwhile, she was to travel out of the country the following week. Imelda couldn't believe her ears. The female officer had to play the recording of the confessions of Peter and Ruth. It was a perfect plan, but neither Ruth or Peter had expected Imelda to involve the police without Peter's knowledge. Imelda felt so stupid. She wondered how she could have lived under the same roof with Ruth and did not notice that she was pregnant. What even hurt her most was that her own husband had betrayed her with the maid. A month after, Imelda held a press conference and set the record straight about what truly happened on her show. So many people had different opinions about the situation on social media. Some people believed Imelda may have neglected her husband while striving to be a successful career woman. Some thought she had made her house help attractive to her husband by dressing her in clothes that enhanced her natural curves and femininity. Some felt it was not Imelda's fault her husband was a dog, and if it wasn't the maid, it could have been anyone. They felt it was so kind of Imelda to upgrade her maid in every way possible. Tell me what you think in the comments. Do you think a maid should be dressed as a maid and not in flashy clothes? Or do you think the maid's outfit had nothing to do with the lack of morals displayed by Peter and Ruth? Let me know your thoughts in the comment section below. When she resumed her talk show, Imelda created a segment where people came on the show to share their stories on their most shocking betrayals by people they least expected it from. As for Ruth and Peter, they were given the appropriate punishment for their little kidnapping plots. Though Imelda had chosen not to press charges, Peter and Ruth couldn't escape the law. They had charges of extortion, conspiracy, and false kidnapping filed against them by the state. The case had gone viral, and it could not be ignored. Not everyone who serves you is loyal, and not every secret stays hidden forever. If this happened to you, what would you have done first? Leave your comments below. Share the story with a friend or two that would enjoy it. Thank you for hanging out with me. Click on the story on the screen. I'm sure you're going to enjoy it. See you there.